All right. Hello and welcome back to the podcast with Keegan and Tash and Keegan. Today, if you're listening on Spotify, we've tried to spice it up a little bit today. We've got dual cameras.
Yeah, so we've got two set up now. Hopefully it turns out a little better than the last one where it was just in between us. So
yeah, now you got a little bit more of like an interaction between two people and not just kind of sitting next to each other chatting shit into a microphone.
Alright, so first of all, we start with a follow-up from last week's podcast. So we mentioned Jake Paul getting charged for looting. So this week, turns out he's actually been arrested for it and could be facing, I think it's 6 months jail.
Yeah, he won't go to jail though.
Nah.
He'll 100% he'll pay his own bail if he really can. It's not going to be like it's going to be much to him. He'll pay his bail, he'll be out.
Yeah.
And he'll be doing reckless things again. Don't know about Logan though. Have you heard much of Logan? No?
Oh, I saw he's at the front of a protest, but I think we spoke about that in the last pod. So
he's kind of just done his own thing. Move your feet, because if you keep knocking that,
sorry. So
they're gonna pick it up.
In other YouTube news, an article came up for me this morning. So this channel I follow, they're a car detailing page. It's run by the father of a, what are they called? Family YouTube channel.
Family channel.
Yeah.
What's a family channel?
So a family channel is one of them ones where they just blog their everyday life, record what their kids do, make money off their kids, basically.
Oh, fair enough.
So the family channel is run by the mum, and the dad runs a car detailing channel, which is what I'm subscribed to. I found an article this morning saying, well, the title of this article is YouTube, family YouTubers return their child because it is broken. And I was like, what do you mean this child is broken? So I read into the article, and in the article it says that when they were adopting the child, they knew that the child had autism. So they knew about it. They adopted it when it was 2.
Didn't they do it for brand deals? I don't know. I read something that the family was doing it and they were getting paid by brands because they had this child that had autism and to promote their stuff for autistic children. Yeah,
I didn't see that. I just saw that they knew that the child had autism, and I think, I can't remember exactly how old it is now, but I think it was about 4 or 5. So they've had the child for like 2 years now.
Pretty young.
And yeah, apparently because I believe it was from China. They adopted the child from China, like Asia somewhere. They returned the child because it was too much work for them. So what are your thoughts on that, Keegan?
That's something. I don't know if I have any thoughts on that. I don't understand why someone would want it. No, because, if I go back to the article thing that I saw this months ago, not months ago, like a couple of weeks ago, so I can't remember it too vividly, but I remember saying they were getting paid. Sorry, I had breakfast and it's coming down my throat now. But, I read that either they had the kid with the autism because they wanted to get they didn't want to, but brands started paying them to like promote their brands that deal with autistic children and something. And this family was raking it in with like this.
They are a pretty big channel. They've got over 1 million.
They were raking it in with this sponsorship for the kid, but apparently I think they tried to give away the kid over a couple Facebook pages. There was screenshots of her posting in Facebook pages asking them who would like to take the kid and stuff, and they're struggling, and the autism's actually too much for them to deal with, and they didn't know it was going to be like this hard or whatever. Like that's really something you should... it won't be that hard taking care of an autistic child.
Bear in mind, this child is their 5th child, so they've got 4 children of their own.
And then they decided to do... It's unfair.
It's unfair on the child.
Yeah, it's very unfair on the child. And I don't know if either the child was maybe like...
neglected?
Yeah, I feel like the child might have been quite neglected. or something. It said something about the child being neglected and they were just using the child for sponsorship money, but...
Well, I can see why they'd get sponsorships because, like...
They're a big channel.
Yeah, and brands that, like, have things to help with autism would definitely be like, oh, they've got an autistic child, they're a big channel, we can definitely use their channel to promote our product.
Yeah, but it sucks because it feels bad for... It's like, because maybe those brands are doing the right thing and they want to help.
Yeah.
But it's like, then you've got that family there that are probably taking this money in and they're probably not... Well, I don't know. We don't know what they're doing with that money. They probably could be doing a lot of stuff with that money that we just don't know about. But it's kind of... It is that title, first of all, for that article is insane.
Family YouTuber returned their child because it was broken.
That's funny.
I still can't get over that.
That's an insane title.
It's a good title. It got me hooked on the article. I saw that title. I was like, I have to read this now. Why have they returned this child?
So I guess that's really it for like the news this week. Hey, we got Jake Paul arrested and family had returned their broken child. He's not broken. He's very normal. It's just went to the wrong family, I guess. But in other news, now we're going to be talking about what happened to us this week. So if you don't know, last week I mentioned that I bought a new car, right? An Audi A5 Quattro. I got it for a complete bargain. Like, it was... I can tell why I got it for a bargain now, because we're in for a whole world of butthurt right now.
So start it from the start. What happened?
So Emily and I we were just sitting at home and I went to go wash the car because it was a bit dirty. And when I picked it up, they hadn't washed it or cleaned it because I had to pick it up earlier than usual. So we driven down, I've washed my car and we were just about to go for lunch. And we're driving down the road to go for lunch and my oil light has come on. And it basically just says oil's at minimum, please fill it up urgently, right? So at first I was really confused because I just bought this car. I've only owned this car for about a week, maybe two weeks at the latest.
And they told you they serviced it before you picked it up.
So it's been told it's been serviced. It's in the book that it's been serviced. So that's a new oil filter. Oil should have been replaced if they're replacing the oil filter. But I'm kind of hoping they didn't do that because otherwise I'm in for a very expensive repair.
So what actually happened on the day? So your oil light came on. And what did you do then?
That's it. I called Taj up. I was like, I need to stop at your house because like I'm not going to make it. I thought the car was going to explode or something. We took it to Taj's house. We tried to look for the dipstick on the oil, but Audi, being German.
Your car's too fancy
for a being fancy. They don't have a dipstick. The car only has like an electronic thing and you have to like wait 2 minutes while the car is stationary on a level surface to get a reading. It's real dumb. So we went down and we went to go try get oil to just top it up because I wasn't sure about like what would happen to the car or anything, or I just wasn't sure what was going on. So we went to go get this oil. The guy at the oil place tried to sell me this like real cheap stuff that wasn't cheap. It was like $40, but it looked like I don't want to pay that.
It looked cheaper than the bottles you get at Kmart.
Yeah, like the Kmart ones looked like better quality oil than that. So I was like, okay, I'm not touching that.
So the cheap one was like $40, and then
the Penrite oil, the
good oil.
Well,
he didn't even give us a cost for that, but at Super Cheap, which is meant to be like a cheap auto store, that oil was selling for about $80. So
yeah, it was a bit expensive. So
a place that specializes in oil, that's definitely going to be more than $80. So
we decided to call up the mechanic. And I've called him up and I said, look, hey, my oil lights come on for my Audi and I've only just owned this car for about a week. And he's like, well, first of all, his initial reaction was, oh no. And I'm sitting here going, oh God, what have I done? So he's told me that it's a 2010 Audi, right? Only 80,000 Ks on the clock. So that's like 8,000 a year. He's pretty good for a 10-year-old car. Like, the quality is immaculate, whatever. But he said the only problem with the 2010 Audis is that they've got a really huge design fault where the engine uses oil quite a lot, which is very bad for the car because oil seeps through the piston when it's like firing and igniting stuff.
So with the piston, there's a couple of rings on the piston, like just a little bit of a backstory. There's a couple of rings that stop the explosion from going down under the piston, and a couple to stop the oil coming up from underneath the piston. So
they're like barriers.
Yeah.
And essentially Audi's piston rings are quite poor, right? So oil seeps through quite easily and like build up on the walls of the engine and stuff.
So basically just burning oil.
Yeah.
Because the oil's coming up from underneath, getting past those rings.
And then, getting ignited and sent down the exhaust pipe, which is bad because it means, because that oil's getting ignited, it can damage the piston, which can cause a lot of damage. So the mechanic
can cause a lot of carbon build-up as well, which is
it can cause a lot.
Good.
So the mechanic told me the only way that I can fix this is to get a oil consumption test done by Audi themselves, which will cost about $600. And I don't have to do that once. I have to do that twice. They make you do it twice.
But he told you to avoid that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
He told you to avoid that because that's just their way of making money off you.
Essentially. But I was reading online, like all the forums and stuff. Basically, Audi won't do anything unless you do it. So Audi's going to he said, don't go to my original dealer. My dealer will make me do it. But the original dealer one doesn't matter because they're not Audi. I have to go to Audi. So that's going to be like $1,200 right there. And that's not even getting anything fixed. That's just them telling me if my car is broken or not twice. So I have to do that. But I was also reading online more into this, and it turns out there was a whole class action lawsuit against Audi and Volkswagen for this particular engine. And that a lot of Audis and stuff replaced these engines for free, or they covered most of the costs for it. So hopefully I can go down that route and tell them, look, I know that this was a whole class action lawsuit against you. And it's not my fault the owner before me didn't fix this about their car. I didn't know that. But I shouldn't be entitled to pay, either $8,000 for an engine rebuild or 12 to 15 grand for a brand new engine.
That's rough. So best case scenario, when you got it serviced, they just didn't put oil in.
Yeah, we're hoping that. We're hoping they didn't put the oil in right.
Worst case scenario, you got to get a new engine.
And that's hefty.
In between, we just keep topping it up with oil every week.
Yeah, but that's the only problem with that is it can damage the engine.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any of the what do you call it? Not diagnose. Symptoms of the car burning oil. Like, I don't...
Yeah, there's no smoke coming out the exhaust.
And apparently that's meant to be... because mine was topped up 2.5 litres, so that's a lot of oil for only travelling like 500 kilometres. That's insane. So
he said that there was no oil in it
there was like no oil in the car. So we're like... But like every time I heavy accelerate or anything, no smoke's coming out the back. Nothing. And it should do. So we're hoping the mechanics are just retarded and didn't fill it up properly and just sent it out, because we all know car dealer mechanics are useless, really. Hey. But that's what happened to me this week. Anything happened to you this week, Tosh?
I've had a pretty boring week, to be honest. Like, car-wise, there's a little bit of water in my headlight because it rained. That sucks, but that's not an $8,000 fix, is it? That's just $20. Just seal it back up again. I did break my splint. Not bad. I've just lost a Velcro patch, so the Velcro doesn't work anymore around my hand. But it's not bad. I go back on Friday, so by the time this is out, I've already gone back and it's probably fixed already. Other than that, nothing's really happened to me this week.
Yeah. All right. Well, that really does it for the start or the middle. Now, we were meant to have a guest on today, but they weren't able to come on. So we've decided we're going to introduce a quick little new topic. And we're going to talk about an interesting movie we've watched this week.
Well, you've watched.
Well, I've watched. I tried to assign Taj this as well, but he, of course, didn't want to watch anything. And instead,
not that I didn't want to watch it. You just did not send me the title of the movie in time.
No, you were meant to go and find your own movie. And then we were going to discuss two different movies. Well, not the same.
Okay. I've got A TV show then.
Oh, okay, alright. So I should talk about a TV show and I'll tell you about this movie. So I was online and I was trying to find just a movie to pass the time because I didn't want to study. And I was like, what's better than like not studying or procrastinating, of course. So I decided to find a movie. Oh, what was the movie called? I had to say. It's called Rev, right? REV, right? It's like when you rev your car engine, that's why it's a car movie. And I saw it and I thought, most car movies I've watched, besides some of the Fast and Furious, have been awful. Bad movies. And I thought, this one looks exactly like that. So I was like, I clicked on it, started watching it, right? And you could tell the whole budget of the film was used in the first 5 minutes of this film, right? There's every single kind of supercar you could think of shoved inside a garage, and they're just walking around and they're revving the car. There's no actual like build up or intro. It's raining. It's
Movie starts. We got the Lambo, we got the Bugatti, we got the Ferrari, we got the Lycan, we got the what's another supercar? We just got expensive car after expensive car.
And they just like. And it's just revving after revving in this. They're meant to be stealing the cars, I think. And they're in the garage just revving it. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? It starts off, right? So that's the start. All their budget was blown on these expensive cars. And now they had to find the rest to just ride the story. And that's when this beautiful masterpiece comes into play. Right, so it starts off with that. Then it starts off with like a voice narration of like the main character, I didn't want to start off this way, but life led me to it. And I was like, oh, we're at that type of movie.
The classic flashback start.
But it was pretty cool, right? So after that, it cuts to a track, right? And someone in a fully modded out 350Z is just drifting, right? That's it. They're doing a drift. So I'm like, okay. This movie's actually got
Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
No, but it's got like proper car stuff, right? So a proper drift spec like 350Z is now drifting around, and good drifts as well, like professional drivers. But it had no point to the story. They just chucked it in there because the character just walks up to the guy who was drifting and was like, "I need money." Turns out this guy who was drifting the car owns a shop who they steal cars for, and then they just part out the cars. That's it, right? That whole drifting thing had nothing to do with the story, but they just chucked it in there, and I was like, it's cool, but why?
It's a car movie. Yeah. They need to add some drifts in there.
And then it cuts back to him. He's sitting in like... Essentially, he just works in a computer shop because he says IT was going to make him money. He's just a retail assistant. But he owns a Honda S2K, right? And a Honda S2000, which is pretty cool. It's red, white rims. Fast forward... He asks this guy if he can steal more cars from him. He's like, yeah, okay, you can. So he goes and he finds a Shelby Cobra, like an original Shelby Cobra, and he steals it. But it belonged to a cop who inherited it because his dad died, because cops don't make money, and that's how they explained it in the show. Right? So he's got a Shelby Cobra. He tried to steal it. He left it for a week. The car was getting tracked. He went to pick it up. He got caught. And then all of a sudden, it was like Fast and Furious, the cops use him to infiltrate a huge, theft gang, whatever it is, right? So it's like they go around, they steal cars, they sell them to, like, people in Ghana, that sort of thing, right? So he infiltrates this way, he becomes best friends with the guy that he was meant to infiltrate with, he falls in love with the guy's girlfriend, they have an affair, the guy's still with both of them for some reason. She's cheating on him in front of him, and he's still there, and he just doesn't care. So I'm like, oh. And then they have this partner, the guy's partner. He's crazy. He stomps someone's head in and shoots someone else. And when I mean this movie goes from 0 to 100 real quick, they go from just stealing cars and partying out cars to drug trafficking, right? And I'm gonna be honest. I totally probably missed that point in the plot because it was so boring. I just started going on my phone. But I just look up, right? And they've gone from stealing a Lamborghini, and now I look up and they're in this dark room, lights, girls in bikini, packing up cocaine. Proper drug stuff, right? Because then that's another thing I want to talk about. Why in every film that have drugs, are girls in bikinis, backing it up. Where did they get the qualifications to learn how to pack up cocaine?
The bikini.
I just don't understand it. It's just like every time you see that, that's what's on the movie. So I was like, okay, classic stereotype. They're selling to African warlords in Ghana, right? Because, little history tip, McLaren don't like selling their cars in Ghana. So they have to buy them illegally. And then it cuts to this one guy living in basically a shanty town, which is just it's like a town made of just shacks, like metal shacks. But at the front of his metal shack is a McLaren, like brand new McLaren. The other one's got a Lamborghini Aventador SV. And I'm sitting here like, they're living in shacks, they're warlords. Surely they would have mansions by now. But that's how it be. And then the film ends up, the guy, the owner, and the girlfriend, they escape. The main character, he escapes too, and they're sitting on a boat, and the girl's all over the partner guy, the original guy, and she's like, where are we going to next, honey? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, ask the captain. Right, and then it switches to this like silhouette of a guy standing there on the boat, and then she walks up to him, she's like, hey captain, where are we off to next? And boom! It's the main character. Didn't see it coming. Yes, I did. It was very obvious. But then they start making out. But I thought she was still with the other guy this whole time. I was so lost.
Hey, they set up this. They set up the sequel well.
Right, it's mad. So honestly, if any of you guys have the time to watch this movie, it's called Rev, REV. Give it a watch. That's it, really. I have no idea. You've got to see it for yourself to understand what I was talking about. But yeah, that was my movie. Yeah, fantastic movie.
So, because I didn't get the memo, I'll talk about a show that me and my girlfriend have been watching. It's called Working Mums. It's on Netflix. It's got 4 seasons at the moment.
Yeah.
So, the opening scene is these 4 mums. 3 mums. There's 4 or 3 mums. And they're sitting in this mummy and me group. And they've got their boobs out. And they're just comparing boobs. And I was like, well, this is going to be a good show, isn't it? So, the show's about... There's 3 main mums. One's a business lady, one's a psychiatrist, and the other one's...
Well, I don't know. I don't watch the show.
No, she sells houses.
A real estate agent.
Yeah, so... Yeah, that. So, it just...
Closing this window. You can tell them. So
it just follows their life and how it is to be a working mum. It's pretty good. I definitely recommend watching it. So one of the mums she's the business one. I don't want to spoil it too much, but later on down the track, her husband cheats on her. It's a bit rough for them. She has to move out. She's still trying to manage her own business. The other mum is the psychiatrist. She has her own business already. Her and her daughter don't get along well, so it's kind of rough between them. And then there's the home selling lady. What's it called again?
The real estate agent.
The real
selling lady.
The real estate agent. So she's lesbian, and her partner is...
I thought you were American.
And her partner is from somewhere in Africa, so she's...
South African?
No, she's not South African. She's like...
Zimbabwean? Zambia.
I think she's... Yeah, Zambian, Zimbabwean, something like that.
Kenyan. There's one called Chad. She's a Chad.
She is really against religion. So the other mum is really against religion. But the main character mum, her new partner is really Christian, and this is like a big conflict in it. So, yeah, it's quite interesting. I definitely recommend watching it. It's on Netflix. It's about 13 episodes per season, about 40 minutes per episode. So it's...
I might give it a watch. Yeah.
Definitely give it a watch.
What would you rate the show?
What are we going to rate out of? Just out of 10?
Yeah, out of 10.
So out of 10, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It's actually quite interesting, yeah.
Alright, I'll bring it back to the car movie. I'll give it a 2 out of 10 at best. Feel free to watch it yourself and come to your own conclusion of what you think of it. But that's pretty good. Now on to I guess our final segment of today. And the reason I had to do a forfeit today from last episode is our latest purchase of the week.
So I'll go first this week.
Yes.
My latest purchase has been a face mask because my skin lately has been pretty dry. So
because your girlfriend's been abusing you about your dry skin.
Yeah, she's been telling me that my skin's really dry. I've been a snake. I've been shedding. So she told me to go to Woolworths and go grab a face mask. So I pulled up to Woolworths. I'm like, yeah, this will be easy. Just grab a face mask. I'm looking.
Yeah, there's millions.
There are so many face masks.
And they all do different things.
So I knew I needed to get a hydrating one. So I'm looking, I'm like, hydrating peel mask? Oh, no, I don't want that. That'll hurt. What's this one? Oh, no, that's not hydrating. And then I've got down to like 4 face masks. And it's like super hydrating, ultra hydrating, mega hydrating, and then just hydrating. And I was like, that one's ruled out. That one's just hydrating. So I'm looking at these ones. I'm looking at the prices. This one's $2. I'm like, oh, do I really want to put that on my face? That looks a little sketchy. So I just went for the middle ground one. It was on special. It was meant to be $8. I got it for like $4.80. So I was like, yep, I'll grab that. So last night, pampered myself a little bit. Watched a different TV show. Just sat there with this face mask on. I didn't know how long I was meant to keep it on, so I kept it on for like an hour and a half.
Jeez.
I think that's too long.
How do you keep it on? That like irritates my face.
I just had it slapped on my face and I was just lying there just like, this feels good.
I can't do it. It irritates.
So, yeah. Definitely recommend a face mask if you got dry skin. Go for it was the ultra hydrating one. So, yeah, definitely recommend it.
We'll keep it up. Face mask review on this podcast.
Well, face mask review. I'd give it...
Yeah?
I'm not really a face mask connoisseur, so I've had like 5 max in my life. I'd give this one... Give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, yeah. For a $4 mask, that's pretty good.
Well, it was an $8 mask,
It was an $8 mask. That's alright. Yeah, that's alright.
So what was your purchase, Keegan?
Thanks for your input there, Tasha. My purchase this week was a little bit sloppy, I'm not gonna lie. I bought an FM transmitter, right? A Bluetooth FM transmitter. For those of you who don't understand, again, if your car is outdated and you can't have so my car has an aux, like I said, but it's retarded. Okay, I don't mean it in that. It is slow, right? Everything just doesn't work. You click next on things and it doesn't go next. It pauses randomly, and because it's in my glove box, I can't get to it. So I bought an FM transmitter. So it connects to Bluetooth. You plug it into your what do you call it? That cigarette lighter, the Volt thing. Yeah. So you plug it in there. You connect to your phone via Bluetooth, and you can play it like a radio station wirelessly. And it's
So your phone Bluetooths to this, and then that turns it into a radio
signal. Yeah. And then you pick it up on one of the FM channels. But it's alright. I paid $14 for it. It's for a Bluetooth one. That's pretty damn good. The rest of them are like $50 and stuff. Quality wise, it's alright. It cuts out all the time. I'll be driving in silence, and then all of a sudden it'll come on. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know it was connected. But yeah. So yeah. Overall, I think for a $14 one out of 10, I haven't really... I'd say it's about a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5.
Does it get the job done?
It barely gets the job done, but it does get the job. When it works, it's pretty good, but it just doesn't work that often. So that was my purchase. Feel free to hop on Instagram and vote for whose purchase was the better purchase this week. Also, the forfeit. Oh, camera's cut out, I think.
Okay, so Keegan's camera angle has just cut out, so I guess it's just me for the rest of the YouTube video.
Well, I guess we're just going to end it there, right?
Yeah, so go have a look on the Instagram. Go vote for the who you think's purchase was better. Yeah, we'll put the polls up not too long after the podcast goes up. And we'll also put another video up on the channel of Keegan doing the forfeit.
Yeah.
So this week, Keegan lost by quite a margin. So the LED lights got about 86% on the poll.
They smashed.
So we asked what the forfeit should be, and
we got hit back with a shoey.
So yeah, on the channel a bit later, looks like Keegan's going to be doing a shoey.
Anyways,
so that wraps up the podcast for today.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next week.